The absurdity of men paying for expensive trips, dates, and luxury items for women they hardly know. Welcome back to the Logical Conversation podcast. I am your host, Free Thinker. Imagine this. A man swipes right on a dating app, matches with a woman he hardly knows, and books an expensive trip for the two of them within days. Sounds ridiculous, right? However, it's a growing trend in today's digital dating world. But why do men need to spend extravagantly on women they've just met? Are these grand gestures a sign of romance, or do they reflect deeper societal issues? Consider this: a lack of masculine mentors to shape our outlook on life and relationships. Today, we delve into the philosophy behind this trend and the foolishness of men paying for expensive trips, dinner dates, and luxury items for women they hardly know. Stay tuned as we uncover the astonishing facts behind these excessive gestures. First, let's study the psychology behind this behavior. It's normal to see men splurging on extravagant trips and fancy restaurants for women they just met. But what's behind this? According to the philosopher Blaise Pascal, the heart has its reason that reason knows not. This suggests that emotions often overrule logic. In this case, the thrill of attraction can lead to irrational decisions. Imagine a man named Mike. He meets Stephanie on a dating app and, after chatting with her for a few days, decides to book a surprise trip to Ocho Rios in the Caribbean, hoping to impress her. He believes this grand gesture will make her find him worthy of her company. Mike's friend thinks he's lost it, and he must have fallen and hit his head. But Mike is convinced this move will make her want him. This situation is more common than you think. It's almost an everyday occurrence. There are countless videos on the internet of men complaining about flying women out, only to be ditched for another guy. There are reports of women demanding pre- and post-date reimbursements, feeling entitled to this man's hard-earned money. After all, the man must pay for the date and any associated travel expenses. There are also videos of women explaining they only went on trips because it was a destination they hadn't been before. Most of us look at these situations and think, that could not be me. Yet, men are willingly playing themselves for validation from others. The thrill of a new connection can cloud judgment, leading to impulsive decisions. Remember, as a man, you should never lead with money or expensive possessions. Leading with cash and cars and other possessions only shows desperation. You are seen as thirsty, and you have no other option. People are attracted to those with options. Now, let's bring in the Stoic philosophers. Imagine standing at a junction, faced with a decision that could lead to wisdom or foolishness. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to act under reason. Simply put, we should consider every move we make and the repercussions of our decisions. Picture this. You plan to spend a load of cash to impress someone you hardly know. The fascination of extravagant trips and lavish gifts is strong. But is it wise? Think about the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, who once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote is a beacon of wisdom, urging us to reclaim our power and not let external circumstances dictate our action. When men spend extravagantly on women they barely know, they often relinquish this control. They allow their desires to overshadow rational thought, leading them down a path of potential regret. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius himself. As a Roman emperor, he faced constant temptations and distractions. However, he practiced self-discipline and reflection, always striving to act with reason. If Marcus were here today, he might advise someone like Mike to stop and reflect before making such a grand gesture. By focusing on what he can control, his actions and emotions, Mike could make wiser decisions. Imagine a scenario in which Mike, pushed by the desire to impress, excessively spends money on a woman he just met. He books a luxurious vacation, buys expensive gifts, and showers her with attention. For a moment, it seems like a fairy tale, but as the days pass, he realizes the shallowness of it all. The woman, seeing this opportunity, might take advantage of his generosity. Can he blame her? After all, he set the stage for this by letting his thirstiness dictate his actions. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize what truly matters, the quality of our connections over the quantity of our possessions. Imagine the strength of a bond built on mutual respect, shared values, and sincere communication. These are the foundations of a relationship that can weather any storm, far more resilient than one built on fleeting moments of extravagance. As you reflect on this, consider your relationships. Are there areas where you can shift your focus from material gestures to more meaningful interactions? How can you apply Stoic principles to enhance the authenticity and depth of your connections? Social media plays a substantial role in this trend. The pressure to impress and show off one's lifestyle can lead to ridiculous spending. As philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre stated, hell is other people. This shows us that external perceptions can trap us into behaviors against our better judgment. The desire and thirst for validation can drive men to invest in less valuable relationships. Let's look at another example. William, an avid social media user, sees his friends posting about their expensive vacations. He feels pressured to keep up and decides to book an extravagant trip for a woman he's just met. William's decision is influenced by the need for social validation and thirstiness rather than genuine connection. This highlights the impact of social media on our choices and the importance of staying true to ourselves. Imagine William scrolling through his feed, seeing his friends lounging on tropical beaches, dining at five-star restaurants, and living what appears to be the high life. He starts to feel inadequate, as if his life is lacking. He quickly books a lavish trip to match their perceived success, hoping to impress his new acquaintance. The excitement of planning and the anticipation of her reaction cloud his judgment. As the trip progresses, William realizes that the connection he wanted to build is superficial. The woman he's with seems more interested in capturing the perfect social media shot than in getting to know him. The conversations are shallow and the bond he envisioned is nowhere to be found. William's initial thrill turns into a sobering realization that he spent a fortune for a fleeting moment of validation. This scenario underscores the powerful influence of social media on our decisions and the pitfalls of seeking approval from others. It's a reminder to prioritize genuine connections over the illusion of a perfect life portrayed online. By staying true to ourselves and focusing on meaningful interactions, we can avoid the trap of extravagant spending driven by need for social validation. But what are the consequences? Nietzsche warned against the danger of creating illusions. When men overspend without truly knowing the woman, they risk building unrealistic expectations. This can lead to disappointment and emotional turmoil when the reality of the relationship sets in. We often see clips of men hitting rock bottom once they realize they played themselves. Let's dive into a story to illustrate this. Picture Mike, a young professional who recently met Stephanie. Fascinated by her perfectly curated photos on social media, he decides to impress her with a lavish trip to Ocho Rios. The excitement is intense as they embark on this adventure, but as the days pass, Mike starts to notice the cracks. Conversations feel forced and the connection he hoped for is absent. Mike had predicted a romantic getaway, but the reality was far from it. Stephanie seemed more interested in capturing the perfect social media shot than getting to know him. The initial thrill fades, leaving Mike feeling used and abused. He realizes that he spent all his savings and maxed out his credit cards to impress someone who doesn't share his values or interests. As the trip comes to an end, Mike is left with a heavy heart and an empty wallet. The financial strain is significant, but the emotional toll is even greater. He feels a deep sense of regret and disappointment. This experience teaches him a valuable lesson about the importance of building genuine connections before making expensive gestures. Nietzsche's warning about illusions ring true. By acting on impulse and letting his desires dictate his actions, Mike created an illusion of a relationship that was never real. The consequences of his actions are both emotionally and financially significant. He learns that true value and fulfillment comes from authentic connections, not from extravagant displays of wealth. So, how can we apply Stoic principles to navigate the situation of men spending lavishly to impress women? Let's break it down. First, practice mindfulness. Before making extravagant decisions, ask yourself, is this a rational choice? Is it worth it? What will be the end result? Imagine you're about to book an expensive vacation or buy a lavish gift. Pause for a moment and do some self-reflection. Are you doing this to connect genuinely, or are you trying to impress? Mindfulness helps you make decisions grounded in reason rather than impulse. Second, focus on building genuine connections. Getting to know the person before spending any amount of your hard-earned cash is crucial. Think about it. Would you rather invest in a relationship built on mutual respect and shared values, or one based on superficial gestures? Don't give your last in hopes of making someone like you or to get bedroom relations. Authentic connections are far more rewarding. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. This wisdom reminds us that our reactions shape our experiences. By nurturing meaningful relationships, you can lead a more fulfilling life without the need for extravagant spending. Now, let's bring this to life with a story. Picture Mike, who once spent lavishly to impress women only to end up disappointed. After reflecting on his past mistakes, Mike decides to move in a different direction in his future relationships. He starts by focusing on getting to know the woman and building connections based on mutual respect and values. He learns to avoid thirst traps. Instead of grand gestures, he decides on meaningful interactions and shared experiences. By practicing mindfulness and reflecting on his actions, Mike finds that he can create more meaningful and lasting relationships. He discovers that genuine connections doesn't require a hefty price tag. This shift in perspective brings him greater satisfaction and peace. Mike learns that the quality of his relationships improves when he prioritizes authenticity over extravagance. As you reflect on Mike's journey, consider your own relationships. Are there areas where you can shift your focus from material gestures to more meaningful interactions? How can you apply Stoic principles to enhance the authenticity and depth of your connections? In conclusion, while it may be tempting to impress someone with extravagant trips and lavish gifts, it's important to reflect on the underlying absurdity of such actions. Stoic teachings remind us that actual value and fulfillment come not from external displays of wealth, but from the depth and authenticity of our connections. We can cultivate meaningful and sustaining relationships by focusing on genuine interactions and understanding. Imagine the strength of a bond built on mutual respect, shared values, and sincere communication. These are the foundations of a relationship that can weather any storm, far more resilient than one built on fleeting moments of extravagance. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize what truly matters, the quality of our connections over the quantity of our possessions. As we wrap up, are there areas where you can shift your focus from material gestures to more meaningful interactions? How can you apply Stoic principles to enhance the authenticity and depth of your connections? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your perceptions could inspire other men on their journey toward genuine relationships. If you found this discussion valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on Stoicism, philosophy, and living authentically. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you know someone who might benefit from these ideas, share this video with them. Let's build a community dedicated to fostering real, meaningful connections. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay true to yourself and keep striving for wisdom. Free Thinker, out.